you lost in the chaotic whirlwind of day-to-day busyness? Do you yearn for a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in your life? Welcome to Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose, the podcast dedicated to empowering women on their journey of self-discovery and finding their true purpose through their own story. I'm your host, Brenda Simmons. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. I'm so glad you can make it with us today. My guest today is Myhriah Young, and she has an eye for the big picture. She helps many entrepreneurs achieve their goals to create the business of their dreams. Myhriah's passion lies in empowering these entrepreneurs with artificial intelligence, making it an accessible and transformative experience. Her enthusiasm for innovation and seeing you have success can be the start of taking your business to new heights. And I'm so excited to talk with Myhriah because she's actually helped me with my artificial intelligence assimilation. I guess that's the right word. But she's so knowledgeable, and I just wanted to have her take on all of that. But before we get into this, Myhriah, I would love to have you share with us your story. How did you end up where you are today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Brenda. I am super excited to share and to hopefully help somebody in the process today. I actually am a brand new empty nester. We had our kids really young, and a really big part of my story that I don't share as much anymore is, there was a lot of negativity around us when we were actually pregnant teenagers. And everybody basically told us our life was going to be over. There were no other options apparently around our scenario. And, we are the kind of people that were like, well, watch us. And so we set out to prove everybody wrong, really. We decided to keep our daughter. We decided to, get married. We decided to build a relationship around who we wanted to be. And that rebelliousness, I think, has also helped me to see things differently. And so, when AI came around, it was just a very natural, like, yeah, I'm tired of business as is. And everybody says you have to do all this stuff. Like, what if we could do this more quickly? What if we could actually accomplish the things we want to accomplish? What if we could actually create the business that we want versus what everybody says you have to do? And, so our lifestyle, everything that we do, we even plan out our empty nester stage. We've chose the state that we want to live in here in Utah, based on, we wanted hiking and biking, and we wanted a place that we could have our dog, be outside a lot and not extreme weather. So we are the kind of people that when we look at something, we don't just go with the flow. We plan it, we strategize, and then we, find ways to make that happen. And I think that's what AI has done for me in a different way.
Okay, I have so many questions for you.
I know that was a lot.
Because I didn't know this about you, but I think this totally fits with your personality and all the things that you do. Okay, so if we can just take a second and digest that a little bit. Okay, so I want to know, because you do have this rebellious flair, and it's one of the things that I absolutely love about you because because it's just fun, right? And so how has that worked to your benefit other than keeping your family intact? How has that benefited you in your life?
Well, I can say it has made me a serial entrepreneur. I was a business owner as a kid. I had a babysitting business. I remember going around and putting flyers in people's mailboxes. And, as soon as I turned 19 and could officially, have my own business, I did. I've done every MLM possible. I've done every kind of business. I've learned so many different things. That's helped us, in business. It's also helped us in our marriage. We decided immediately we were never going to use the word divorce in our marriage. We decided immediately that we were not going to talk negatively about each other behind each other's backs. We were going to have friends that we made pacts with about how we talk about our spouses, what we do with our relationship. So Even raising our kids, I homeschooled at a time when homeschooling was not popular at all. I wished I was homeschooled. And so, based on different things, my husband having dyslexia and me being a person who could learn quickly, but never being allowed to move forward and work at my own pace, I didn't want my kids going through that. So I homeschooled as a pregnant mom or teenage mom, mind you, and everybody thought I was crazy. Like, how could you be homeschooling your kids? You didn't go to college, you didn't do this. And I, again, was just like, watch me.
Right.
And so, yeah, our whole life has kind of just been that way, a little bit of rebellion, but it's good.
So, do your kids have that flair as well?
A little bit. They
Right.
could use a little more. The pendulum swings, right? We did
Right.
this,
It
so now
totally
they're
does.
way more like the opposite in some ways. They're coming around. They're coming around.
So, okay, so you mentioned that you didn't go to college. Did you
Yeah.
feel pushback from that? Because our culture is so much, you've got to get that degree and all that stuff. So how did you address that?
Yeah, that was a really rough one, to be honest. Among the rough things that I've had to like work off the chip of my shoulder in my life, that is a big
Hmm.
one. It actually made me sometimes feel unworthy, but even I'm rebellious towards myself. So those negative thoughts that are like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not this. Again, I would be like, okay, watch me. I can do this. What do we need to do to learn? And so I've looked at every opportunity in my life as an education. And it's crazy because I've done things that people would think that I had a degree. I've been a teacher at a small private academy. I have, built multiple types of businesses. I've been a coach. I've been many things. And so sometimes when I even share that, they're just like, you don't?
Yeah,
No,
I was
I really
surprised
don't.
because yeah, because you act like you have one. You know what I
You.
mean? I
Yeah.
think sometimes there's for people who maybe don't do that, sometimes there's well, yeah, I didn't do this, so this is why. So it's like an excuse, you know? But you didn't do that. You just said, I'm taking life by the horns and I'm gonna go for it. And that's totally your approach to everything you do.
It is. I would say if I was to put it into a methodology, I would say I became a don't ask permission girl a long time ago. If there's some way that I can do it, and I think it's probably why I'm a huge proponent for technology too, whereas a lot of my generation is not, is because it's been the technology, it's been the books. I was the person that would go to the library and get books because I couldn't afford one, and I would implement what the book said. I'd pay $20 for something, which was a lot back then. And I would implement it because it was such a big investment for me. And I feel like technology makes so much more knowledge accessible. I was the person that would use it. I mean, I YouTubed everything. I would Pinterest everything. I would do research, find books, find ways to learn something. And so I feel like with AI, we have just expanded that ability even more. And not that I'm saying people shouldn't go to college if that's the right way for you, but my mentor who passed away in January, he was a big proponent of your life is an education. And he had the degrees. He was a PhD and he's done all the things, but he himself said that, he actually got his PhD as just part of what he called his life education. He didn't actually become a counselor. He had his PhD in psychology, and he felt that he used it in his sales jobs. He used it in everything that he did, his coaching and all of that. And so that really helped me to have that mentorship of your life is education.
And I agree with that 100%. I remember when I graduated college, afterwards, I I just felt like my brain was atrophying.
Yeah.
It was like such a bizarre feeling. And what I really love now is that ability to go, I can learn whatever I want.
Uh,
I mean, like sky's the limit. Like I limit myself, right? You
yeah.
know what I mean? And so it's just a really fun thing to go, oh, well, yeah, I want to learn about gardening. So I'm gonna become a master gardener. Or you know what I mean? I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many things that you can do. I find my biggest problem in life is how do I choose? you know?
Yes. Exactly. And we can't do it all, right? Even though we're
Right.
capable of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so what
Yes.
was your path into the AI sphere?
So funny enough, I did not intend to become an AI expert at all. And I still didn't even call myself an AI expert, to be honest, because it changes every day. I don't want to be responsible for that type of knowledge.
Right.
It's just too fast. However, I have, like I said, been a business builder officially since I was 19 and before. Um, and so I've just been able to take that knowledge, and I'm really good. And this is something that I think is a great nugget. I'm really good at strategizing the right moves. As entrepreneurs, we can do so many different things, and we can find busy work like, got to get back to the emails. And not that those are bad, but what I've gotten really good at recognizing is I've got to make that hard call. I got to make that hard phone call, that hard reach out. If I did nothing else and I just did that, everything else will take care of itself, right? So I was really good from, even I just say 5 to 7 years on, I've been really good at making sure that I create key opportunities for myself. I reach out to people who would be difficult reaches. I find ways to add value to leaders in communities that I want to add value to, and recognizing that, okay, I will interact in this group. I will do things in this group, but who I really want to meet, who I want to add value to is the leader of this group. And then I
Mhm.
don't do it in a cheesy way. I really do genuinely want to add value. So I've been really good at that. I got into a community, 48 Days Eagles, which is the kind of community my mentor that just passed away led, and was able to do some coaching through that group with their small businesses and entrepreneurs. And when AI came out, I recognized, because it takes so long to get some of these things done, right? Branding, websites,
Mhm.
copy, content, that it was going to be a way for me to enhance my clients' experiences and get more done. So I set out with that. I started teaching AI and Canva walkthroughs immediately, just to my clients. And one of them said, "You're like an AI whisperer. And why aren't you teaching this? Move along a
That's
little
such a
further."
compliment, right?
Yeah, it was so blown away. And I just kind of like, okay, I tucked it in, right? And then I was like, all right. And my mentor and his daughter did know that I was teaching, using AI. And somebody asked for a resource for that. And they're like, hey, would you teach a basics class? And I was like, okay. Pulled in my girlfriend, who's I call her the Canva queen. And so we taught this class together. And of course, during that, someone was like, you should have a membership. And that was October of last year. And we were like, yeah, we could do that. So we literally, from October, started and built our business. We had our first $1,000 month in November, which is huge in the entrepreneurial world.
Huge after
Um,
only a month. Yeah.
yeah. And, and we really honed in on, okay, we don't want to be the AI experts, but what we do want to do is we want to help people keep it simple, because we believe, and we did this. We built a profitable business just using AI, Google, and Canva, those three things. We
Wow.
eventually incorporated Wix once we were profitable. So a month later. But then we also just don't want business owners getting in the weeds. We're really good at helping people. Let's just get stuff done. Let's get people involved in your business, right? Marketing. And so that's where we're at today. We now have a membership, we have coaching that we do. And we're recognizing that we can help businesses to cut costs in the right places, not front facing customer service. I'm just going to throw that out there, and actually increase, their revenues, because they can create things more quickly and get out, valuable products to create fans out of their clients. And so that's where we really are strong.
Okay, so I want to take a deeper dive into like exactly what AI is and how it can specifically help people. Maybe not even just in their businesses, but personally too, because I do have
Yeah,
listeners that they're not entrepreneurs and that's not a problem, but how
right.
then is AI pertinent to them as well? So
Love
what do
that
you say
question.
to that?
I love that question so much, because we do tend to focus so much on professional there's so many personal uses too. So let me just start with, we do an ABCs of AI webinar every month, twice a month. It's free because we've recognized we've been speaking with groups, and we had a group that was like, you were kind of speaking Greek to my group because many of them don't even know what AI is. I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, okay, I just assumed everybody knew at this
Right.
point. They don't. So AI is an excellent tool. And right now, I'm just going to talk Chat GPT, which is free. I want it accessible to everybody. And I have run hundreds of people through AI spanning at least 20 plus industries, and it can work for all of it. I've also used it a lot for personal use. So Chat GPT is just a platform. It's an artificial intelligence, what AI stands for, where you can go and you could just go and say, hey, write an email for me for my boss about blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be okay. It'll give you a framework that you could take and you can edit.
Hmm.
Um, you could ask it for ideas. I've asked it for ideas for vacations. You can, just do all kinds of things. And it's going to give you some okay stuff. One thing that I've heard from people is they go and do just that. They will just put in, hey, I need some answers for this homework assignment. It's not great at that. It's not going to give you good stuff. So one thing that we have learned, and we can talk a little bit about this, is the thing to learn to do, no matter what AI platform you use, is to become a prompt engineer. A prompt engineer is someone who learns to use AI creatively and ethically, and you can actually have AI give you really great information based on training it.
Hmm.
Um, okay, I feel like I could keep going, but I don't want to go in the wrong direction.
No, you're totally,
There's so much I could
this
share
is
with
good.
you.
Yeah, this is good. Keep going.
Okay. So a couple things to think about, and I will just go a little ethics here for those who don't know anything about AI. Don't feed it personal contact information. I just want to put that right up front. Um, we actually have a fun advent calendar that we've put together for families so that they can actually use AI to come up with fun ideas through the whole holiday season. Super fun. Um, I do suggest that you put information in about each of your family member, but I make sure to let you know, don't put personal contact information in there. And for your children, you may want to consider saying child one, child two, child three. I put my kids' names in mine, but I'm okay with that. My kids are adults.
Right.
So you got to decide, use, and I think a lot of people are afraid of it because of some of that stuff. I would say use that inner intuition, use AI, but be smart with it. Just like anything you would do with social media. A lot of people don't put their kids' names on social media, things like that. Use that same, tact, critical thinking, and you can use it for that. Also, second thing, just to make sure that you guys know, is if you just go in and you put in AI, like create a post for me about blah, blah, blah. You haven't trained it, you haven't done anything, you just
Hmm.
plop it in there. You need to tell people that you used AI for multiple reasons. One, they're already going to know. Most of us at this point can recognize AI for many reasons. One, it always gives way too many emojis. That's a telltale sign immediately.
Always. Yes.
Always. It's really fluffy, it's really repetitive, and it's also going to be somewhat robotic.
Yep.
So if that's all you're going to do, you're not going to edit it, you're just going to plop that in, you better let people know because you're going to lose. It's not going to do anything to you as far as legally, but your customers are going to know and you're going to lose their trust. I've seen it happen over and over again these days. So make sure that you're going in and editing it. And if you're looking at it, truly, you will see you have to edit it. AI is not
Yep.
that smart by itself.
I have experienced that myself. So, I'm a realtor. And so realtors always have to do this little blurb about the house that they're selling. And
Mm,
I cannot stand the ones that are AI, like, because
hmm.
they're always like half a page long. So you have, right,
Yeah.
super fluffy, flowery words that's so redundant. And while the
Hmm.
agents will take out the emojis because you can't put emojis in there,
Hmm.
it takes so long to read through this. And I finally just go like, this is AI and it's so fluffy and this is literally a waste of my time reading through this, you know?
Yeah.
And so I agree. Like you have to train it and you have to edit. Like
Yes.
don't just take it and then apply it, read through it and really make it your voice. And that's something that what you do is you help the AI become your voice. So how do you even do that? Because I think that's super vital.
Yes, I love training AI. I will tell you, it has become such a pleasure to train AI for people because you just never know what you're going to get. First off, let me just say that you could put the same prompt, which I do. I have templates of what I use for one industry versus another industry, and you're going to get completely different things. And so it's
Yeah.
so much fun. But I'll give your audience some tips for training your AI. So you do want to train your thread, and you can do this in the free version. We're not doing a demonstration today, but when you go into chat, you'll see on the left side that there's what we call threads. So here's the definition for you as well. A thread is something that you name. It'll name it for you at first. You should go in and rename it to your thing. And you want to create threads for different purposes. So I have a thread for my AI business, and I have a thread for my gals business, and then I have threads for each of my clients that I work with. Again, all in the free version. You can have as many as you want in there. And so what you want to do is, and I've learned there's some confusion here. You want to use the same thread. So for my AI business, I use the same thread for everything related to AI, my AI
Mhm.
creation years. Um, because there's some amazing things that can happen with this. So you're going to start with answering questions about you, your business, what you do, why you do it. You can add in some personal things. I actually really like to do that. Like I like to put some of the obstacles that I've overcome as a person, right? I like to put in achievements that I have, accomplishments. Heck, you could put your whole resume in there, quite honestly. So people are always amazed by that. You can actually put a lot in. It's this tiny little thing that says message on there when you go in there, but really you can put whole paragraphs in there. When you see mine, they're so long, and you should. Um, and what happens when you keep using that same thread, I do a few things. One, I want you to put it into a separate document. Don't keep it just in AI because it's the wild, wild west out there. It could go away. We don't know. So put it into a separate document, but then use that document when you get something from AI, take it over to the other document, edit it up, make sure your voice, and then actually go back to AI and say, I used this. Put a colon, shift enter so you can go down further,
Mhm.
and copy and paste that edited piece in there. What that does is it continues to train your thread so that it understands you more. Anytime you start a project, if you want to brainstorm in there, I love brainstorming with AI. It's so helpful. It can really keep up with my ideal generating. I'm an ideal generator. And so I can actually go in and play with it, and I can leave it. I can actually come back 2 to 3 months later and say, hey, did we work on the advent calendar in this thread? And it'll say, oh, yeah, here it is. And it'll actually bring up all the details. Great. Now I need to write an email for those who signed up to say thank you. Here's the first step, blah, blah, blah. Boom. And it's just going to go boom, boom, boom. And quite frankly, when you've trained it for that amount of time, it will get to the point where you're not having to edit very much. So that is the goal. And the beautiful thing ethically on that, I took a law class recently on AI, and he does believe, this guy who was teaching it, that prompt engineering is where it's going to be at no matter what platform you're using. But also, if you are very creative and detailed in your prompts, and someone wanted to come to you and say, I'm suing you because you used AI to create my whatever, or to do this, or to promise me this, you actually have a leg to stand on because you've actually input all of that information in there. And just like an artist, or just like a personal assistant who works for you, who learns that stuff for you, you actually can share, like, look, this is the prompt that I used. This is all of my information. I created this.
Hmm.
Um,
So looking at it
yeah.
as a personal assistant, that's an interesting perspective, isn't it? Because I think there are people out there who are like, I will never use AI because it's not real. It's fake, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, if you're giving it the prompts and you're telling it what to spit out, and then you're taking that and editing that, there there is some ownership for you in that
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah. And we're really big believers. And again, we're sci-fi nerds, both of us, myself and my partner Amanda. We've watched all the sci-fi movies. I've watched Terminator. I've watched, all the different things. But we're still believers that AI is not going to take over. And quite frankly, when you use AI just by itself, you can see it's not that smart. It only takes in at this point what it's given. So I know there's a lot of fears there about that, Skynet, all that stuff. Um, and we can't predict the future, but I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of like, well, I still just believe that in a world of AI, be human, but be a human who embraces AI. I don't think it's AI that's going to take over the jobs because we've all seen the companies that have taken AI and used it for their customer service.
For
It's
sure.
terrible. They're
For sure.
losing clients like crazy, right? That's not the place to implement AI. And that's why we're so passionate about implementing it correctly. But your people in your business, we actually spend time helping train them from your brand trickle down and train your people to train their threads so that they can create stuff for you more quickly. And quite frankly, once you've done that, I have found that a lot of our clients are actually creating super fans because they can create things more quickly, strictly to their brand voice. They can actually, and AI will then come up with stuff sometimes that you're like, oh, this is so cool. I never would have thought about that. But yes, it can be such a helpful tool.
So the image that I'm getting in my brain is Tony Stark on Iron Man, like talking to his computer, right? And like moving
Yes,
things
good Ed
around
Jarvis.
and and what if we tried this? But that's what it feels like to me without the
Yeah,
visual.
right. Yes, it so is. And so it's fun to use for professional life. It's actually also really fun to use for personal. So I have what is called, and I can send this to your community if you think they would be interested, what I call 5 confidence booster prompts.
Love it.
And what we do in some of those is, we've actually created, I have a thread. It's my overall work. It's got both of my businesses in there. It's got all of my accomplishments, my resume, my LinkedIn information, and everything. And I'll just go to that sometimes when I'm kind of in a down mood, and I'll just be like, AI, can you tell me why I'm awesome?
Oh
And it
my
will spit
goodness.
out
Like I never would
all
have
the
thought to
reasons,
do that.
right? And I have started using that one more as almost a personal, just like, when I had a tough time with my mentor passing, gosh, that's already been a couple months ago. We found out in December that he was going to. Um, I would just, have days where I was like, I am really just feeling in a muck today. Can you give me some ideas for how to process my feelings? And it would actually give me a beautiful list of reflection questions, ideas of just what I could do that day, even take a nap, just allow myself. Because it does have a lot of information that's been fed into it from so many different industries, including psychology, counseling. So it can actually pull together some great things. I also have a thread that's a couples thread. And so, I've put my information about me, my husband, our personalities, what we like to do, hobbies. We've put our location even. Not our address, but our location.
Right.
And we can go to it and say, we're feeling kind of energetic tonight. Can you give us 10 ideas for what we could do? And it will take it will accurately take in ideas about your location, about your personality, about all the things that you fed it, and it will give you 10 really good ideas. Um, it's amazing the things you could do. In that particular thread, I've asked it, hey, will you give me like the top 20 places I should visit before I die? And that was a great YouTube video night date for my husband and I because we're like, okay, let's go check these places out. We have since taken the Amazon rainforest off of our list. It's all the little things that want to kill you
Right.
that we thought, no, we're good. We're good. And the big things, right? Everything there just
Right.
wants to kill you. Like maybe in a hot air balloon over the top.
Right.
So there's so many fun uses for you can do a travel itinerary. I one location that we want to go is Northern Europe because we did our DNA tests and we said, okay, give us a historical, non-touristy itinerary for this amount of time, starting from this location, going to this location. And you can put, make sure we hit here, make sure we hit there. And again, great YouTube date night because then we went and looked up all the locations and it was really good. It was accurate. The timing, not so much. It's not great at times, dates, pricing. But other than that, really good.
But you can find that information elsewhere. It's as long as you've got that itinerary, right? Then you
Yeah.
can plug and play. I think it's just being creative on the information that we give it and thinking, well,
Mm,
I don't have to come up with all of those solutions. I can, have 10 different solutions in a matter of 1 second,
yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So, and I've used it myself for idea generation and like when I was trying to name my podcast, I don't think I actually used any of the suggestions, but
Yeah.
it still got my brain juices flowing so that
Hmm.
I could get into that space of creativity.
Yes. Yes. And there are certain things where you probably shouldn't use it.
Hmm.
I did help a gal recently write a chapter of a book for something that she was contributing to. And we did use it. Um, we had to find some tricks. We had to play with it. Sometimes I'll just do stuff for people just because I'm like, I want to see what it does. I'm just
Right.
curious about what we can get. And so for her, it was one of those. I'm like, I don't know. Let's try it. And we definitely played with it. And it definitely, for a little bit, wasn't doing very well. But then we fed it one of her stories.
Hmm.
And she talked, I just typed like crazy and got it in there. And when we fed it the story, we also then told it quit using third person, use first person from her point of view. It actually gave us amazing information. Now, I don't always suggest that for writing a book or some of those things, but some of the things that it can help with. So let's say you did write a book. Writing a book is awesome, but there's a lot of marketing to do around writing a book.
Right.
And so if you can take, as much as you feel like feeding your thread things about your book, you could just do table of contents or you could just do a chapter summary and put it in there. It can then take and do the mundane things that you don't want to do, like create a speaker sheet for me to go and talk to different groups, create an email that I could then send out to those groups with that speaker sheet, create posts, give me strategy ideas, give me a schedule even for, what I should do this year to promote my book and make it, go viral.
Right.
So, you can actually take it where a lot of people are like, well, I wouldn't use that to write a book. Well, that's probably a good idea. You could use it a little bit, but
Right.
yeah, don't do that. But use it for all the other mundane stuff that goes around writing that book.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just being open to the possibilities with it, So, but I do think it's important to have that voice, and that's just a matter of training and not just training at once, but continuing to do
Yeah.
that then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite thing to teach about AI?
Oh my gosh. To be honest, I love just being able to teach to use it to be more creative. I really being somebody who has been really resourceful in my life and I've learned to use what little I have for better, I really feel like AI is seriously opening the world. There is no reason you can't learn anything. There's no reason you can't build anything. I actually have found what it has helped me to do for others is to really hone in on what they want to create. So often we just think, "Oh, I just want to coach," for example. Okay, what does your life look like coaching? Like, what does your schedule look like on a weekly basis? How many clients are you helping? What is the rest of your lifestyle? Are you just working 24/7, 365? I hope not. you know, what does your lifestyle look like? I like to look at life stages, like us being empty nesters. It was really important that we could work remote so that we can work from anywhere. I have families I've worked with that homeschool or are plant-based or are RVers. All of that stuff should be taken into consideration with what you build. Where I think that used to be really difficult, I can now help somebody really hone in on what it is that they actually want. And let's build your business around that versus the other way. Um, let's put together the right packages. You only need 5 clients if you're making this amount of money, and great. You don't need to do all of these extra things that everybody tells you you need to do. You can market based on that number, based on the lifestyle you want to create. And we can really hone in on that strategy and use AI in a way that actually helps you to do that.
Do you find you get pushback because of fear?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
So
I
dive into that a little bit.
That is another favorite thing of mine, is to take a skeptic and help them to see. Um, I have a very dear person in my life who, when we first started talking about AI, told me it was a demon. And I was like, okay.
Oh, that's strong.
And, we get down a few months later, AI starts, it was like right as it began. People are starting to implement it. I mean, heck, you can't hardly join a software company at this point or a platform without it having some sort of AI integration. Um, we were talking about a project that she had, and I was like, so how are you feeling about AI these days? Because I could help you get that done in about 15 to 20 minutes. And she was like, you could? I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. And so we sat down right then and there. We got out our computers and we did some, I always do some basic branding, some, a little bit of client profiling and stuff like that, just to, really train that thread. And then we worked on her thing. And sure enough, 15 to 20 minutes later, we were done. We ended up playing a little bit more with it. So it was a little bit longer than that. But it gave her such great information for what she had to accomplish. And she was like, it's not even that I wouldn't have come up with that myself. It did give her a few extra things that she wouldn't have come up with. But she's like, it would have taken, I mean, she was looking at it taking her 2 to 3 days to finish.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we got
And
it
she's
done
done
so
in
fast.
15, 20 minutes. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been really fun for me. I've worked with a couple of skeptics at this point, and by the time they're done, they're just like, oh my gosh, I just didn't even know.
Right.
So fun.
Well, that's awesome. So, what if somebody wants to learn about AI from you, how should they go about doing that?
Yes. So we have a lot of resources. One thing that I will say is myself and my partner, Amanda, we're just creative. We've both been in business for over 20 years. So when we started working with AI, we just had so much fun brainstorming, like, oh my gosh, we could create this, and oh, we could create this, and we could do this.
Because you can do
So,
anything with it.
yeah,
Anything. Yeah.
yeah. So we have a lot of free resources. Like I said, we got that confidence booster. We do have a free Facebook group where we're always putting just fun prompts in there. One of my favorites in that group was my partner put out one for a superhero. And so you put in the prompt, and of course, you're putting it in your trained AI thread, which, we walk through different tips in there. And the stuff that people got, it was amazing. They got an origin story, they got like a tagline, they got their superpower, their arch nemesis. It was so cool. And
Oh,
it
and so like you're creating your own story.
Yeah,
I
and it
love that so
tailored
much.
it to you. Like mine
Right.
was something about creativity, and of course, you know how it comes up with titles. It was really crazy. I did one for my husband. I even did one for my dog Snuffleupagus.
I love that's
It
his
was
name.
so fun. Yes. So, we have a lot of free resources. we also do coaching because what we have recognized is that, I will do what's called a 1 hour power session with somebody and we'll gather a lot of information. And what we've started to recognize is, those people will come back to us and say, I don't know what to do next with this. This is really good. They always love it. We get a lot of great stuff, but what do I do next?
Yeah.
And so we've actually recognized we're like, okay, we should probably put some packages together to help walk you through. And that's where our business, experience and coaching comes in, is because, we can put things in AI. You can get some really great things. Then it's learning what to do with it next, how to take it, how to implement it. So we have a AI and Canva basics course that we do. We do the free webinar every twice a month on the basics of ABC. We call it the ABCs of AI, which has definitions and terms. It's a prequel to our overview that we do with most businesses. We do an overview for free with businesses if they want to train their group or their community. So we actually have quite a few ways. If someone wanted to get in touch with us, I'd say join that free Facebook group is a great place to start. And then, we do a free consultation as well to just see, where should you implement AI? We don't want you wasting a lot of time. Time is money when you're a business owner. So let's make sure that we are actually planning, make sure you have your foundations, make sure that you can use that, train your teams. So we've put together some more robust handhelds through how to implement AI into your business properly.
That's fantastic. And I will put all of the links to those resources in the show notes. So, and I've sat down with you and it was so amazing. Like I learned so much just about AI just with sitting down with you. So that was
Thank you.
phenomenal. And I'm realizing now after this conversation that because I don't have my categories set up on the left-hand side. I just have like a whole bunch of different prompts.
Right.
And so
Right.
now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally train it in my real estate. I can train it with my podcast. I can train it with my life coaching business. I can train it with my my goals that I want to do, and so that's really amazing. So I thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
Pretty
Well,
cool.
and I'll do something for your community too. We
Oh,
have our one
fun.
hour power session. It's normally 6:48. I'll go ahead. I haven't actually created it yet. Just in your talking, I was like, we should do this. I'll go ahead and do a $300 discount on that for 348. I'll make the discount code. You and I can talk when we're done what we want that discount code to be. And then of course, you and I can work out some fun stuff with that as well. But if they want to do just a 1 hour power session, that can be a really great place to start. I have found for some business owners that's not the right fit. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
actually working further. So I've put that together. But a good 1 hour power session or a 15-minute free consultation is a really great place to start. So we'll put some fun things together. That's the beauty of AI. I can actually, as soon as we're off the phone, we're going to create that, right?
Right. Exactly. Well, and you know what? I'm really impressed by your methodology of, hey, we're discovering this, and so we're making changes, and I think that is a good sign of a healthy business when you're willing to adapt to what the needs are of your clients and what you're seeing. And so I think that is really amazing that you're
Thank
willing
you.
to do that. And it's called
Yay.
growth.
Yes. And I will say that's one of the beautiful things about AI that we've been teaching we do have a membership where we walk our businesses through creating their sales process and being more profitable. It's a little bit slower. We do a topic a month and then we help them implement it. And one of the things that we've been showing them, it's kind of beautiful because some of them have been with us since we first started the membership in October and they watched. We're like, hey, sorry, we've just figured this out. We just automated this. We just did
Yes.
this. And so they're literally watching us build our business. And we've really shared with them, like, hey, build it as you go. And you can do
Yeah.
that so much easier with AI. You can say, hey, this is my sales process. I have it outlined, but let's just build your freebie right now. Let's start having a consultation package that you can start talking to your people because we always say this. We're like, your people will tell you what they want.
Hmm.
And guess what? Then you can say, hey, I'm going to create that as soon as we get off the
Right.
phone.
Exactly. Ah,
So it is a wonderful, wonderful tool. And I just really feel like business owners, especially if you're just starting, honestly, it's honestly at any point, but what you need might just be different. But if you're just starting out, you've got to have AI as one of the tools in your tool belt. It will help you do so much. And truly, my hope for you is it'll help you be profitable much more quickly than it used to be.
yeah. So, what is a nugget that you can share with people? Things that you have learned along your path. Um, and even, if you want to direct to AI, that's great. If you want to open up to other things, that's great too. So, what advice would you give our listeners?
Actually, I wouldn't point to AI. What I would say is you don't need permission. You don't need permission to build what it is. And get a community around you immediately that understands what you're doing, because the people who make you feel like you have to have permission are the people who don't understand building a business. And quite frankly, it's not fair of us to ask that of them. Not everyone can handle that. So making sure that you have a squad of people around you who can help you, who can understand what it is that you're doing is really key. And they're going to be the ones that help you to realize, like, you don't need permission. I'm creating a conference this year for the first time. And I have people just like, what? What are you doing? I don't need permission for that. I can just create a conference if I want to. And now that we have these tools, we have a lot of information. Why not? But again, having those right people around you who can help you, who can support you, that's key. It's so vital. You really, really need that.
I agree 100%. I was doing some meditating earlier this week, and that is one thing that came out of that meditation is like I need to surround myself with the right people. And not that I'm doing it wrong right now, but I definitely can be better at it, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that's really fantastic advice. So thank you so much for sharing that. One more question. Do you think I'm just wondering if because you're kind of like me, you've done a whole lot of different things
Yeah.
and you find joy in having your fingers in a lot of different things like I do.
Yeah.
If you could summarize your purpose right now in one sentence, what would you say?
That's such a good question. I recognized several years back, when I actually was struggling with depression, that one, it was recognizing my personality and all of that kind of stuff, but that's a whole nother topic. I need to bring fun to the world. I was made for that. I squashed that for a very long time, which is why I was depressed. And so everything that I enter into these days has to be, excuse my language, it has to be a hell yes, or I should not do it at all.
Yeah.
If I can't bring, if some people question sometimes where they're like, really, you just want to bring the fun? What does that even mean? I don't understand. It's like, well, I always look at a situation and I put on the Myhriah that I need to bring fun to that scenario. So if I'm entering a room or I am going to an event, I am prepping myself in advance to make sure that I am figuring out how I want to present myself, position myself, and bring fun to that scenario, whatever it is. And, sometimes it's okay for me to just sit and relax and enjoy. I've done that where it's like, I'm okay. I don't but it's good because I understand that's the fun that I need. Sometimes if I'm just sitting in an event and watching people, I have fun with that. Right. So it's recognizing for myself what bringing the fun is and positioning myself that way. If I'm going to offer value to a leader of a community, for example, that's what I'm going to lead with. Hey, I think I could add some fun to this in this particular way. And that's helped me to actually have posture in my with my life, with my business, with everything, because I can really come from that angle.
I think you are the perfect person to bring fun to AI. Because I don't think that's a topic that people say this is so much fun, but you really do that, and
Thank
so
you.
I think that is fabulous, so fabulous. So
Thank you.
thank you for bringing fun to the world, Myhriah. You are fun.
Thanks. Thank you.
And also, thank you for
Oh,
taking your time to be on the podcast. This has been truly wonderful. And I'm so grateful that you shared a little bit of your knowledge of AI and some of the things that you can do, really dispelling some of the fears that are out there about it and understanding, the immensity and the possibilities and the ability that AI has to just make us bigger and better, you know. So,
thank you.
so thank you. I
This
appreciate
was
it.
so much fun.
Good. I'm
Thank you,
glad.
Brenda.
All right. If anybody can bring more fun into the world, it is definitely Myhriah Young. I hope you all take advantage of her freebie, the 5 confidence builder prompts, as well as her 1 hour session that she does. I've done this session with her, and boy, it's just amazing what you can learn about AI and how you can learn how to use it not only in your business but also in your personal life. And I have gone back and used it in the way that she taught me how, and wow, it's really amazing. And I think there's something to be said about embracing something and not being afraid of it. Because when we fear something, we tend to not look at it deeper and truly understand it. And that's really where the fear comes from, is you just don't understand it. You have to remember that all of these new things that are come out can be used for good. Yes, they can be used for the bad also, but if you can use those things for good, why not? Why not do that? I'm sure when a washing machine came out, there were people who said, "I'm going to still do that, the washing by hand." And yet those who embraced it found freedom with their time and freedom from maybe their hands cracking and different other side effects of doing laundry by hand. Why not use that same attitude with AI? Find the ways that we can use it for the good and embrace that and share that with other people. I hope that this has been beneficial for you. If it has, would you please share it with somebody else so that they can understand artificial intelligence and how to use it and not be afraid of it? Sharing the podcast really is the greatest compliment that you can give to me, as well as to those to whom you share it with. And I hope that you remember, just like Myhriah, that your purpose is in your story. Until next time, take care.
Celebrate your dreams, let them take flight, for you are a star, shining bright in every step you take. Let your